What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Magic the Gathering Arena video. I'm sorry it's been a long time since I've posted. I just got finished with a move. Now that Ravnica Allegiance is out, we've got our first Mythic Championship under our belts. We're going to go ahead and get into some new decks. So this is actually a pretty old deck. It's also not the sort of latest and best version of the deck that LSV was playing at the Pro Tour. It's not the Arc-like Phoenix version. This is still just sort of the standard version. It's what MTG Goldfish thinks is sort of the representative deck based on their standard metagame listing. So we're just going to quickly run through the cards. This deck came in second at SCG Standard Toronto. So because we're not playing the Phoenix package, we're playing the standard 12 Drakes. We've got Terramander, which starts out with some early board presence, as well as grows in the mid-game to a 5-5, as well as our standard set of 8 Drakes from which our deck gets its name. So the spells are really where the variety comes into these different decks. I think this is a very middle-of-the-road build. We've got 3 Dive Down to protect, 1 Maximize Velocity. I'm still not really sure how I feel about this card. It can be good sort of in the mid-game to kind of blitz out your opponent with if they tap out, play a large Crackling Drake, maximize velocity, and possibly get in for some big damage kind of out of nowhere. It adds a sort of finisher to the deck with that late-game burst potential. Running 4 Opt, 4 Shock. It gives us something to do on turn 1 against aggro or control, or if they're not doing anything, we can opt turn 1, potentially hold up a Spell Pierce as well. These three cards are sort of our early turn 1 plays. We've got 4 Charted Course. This is a pseudo-aggressive kind of mid-rangey deck. Game 1, and Charted Course is just a good card to help us sustain our card advantage. Entrancing Melody is sort of a spicy tech. It's good in a number of situations. It's also not great in a lot of situations. It's good as a 1-of. We can make it a 2-of after sideboarding. Game 1, I think it's okay. 4 Lava Coil, great in the mirror, great against Goblin Chain Whirlers. We like this more than Lightning Strike in this deck because we don't care about face damage that much. All it's going to take is a few swings of a Drake. We'd rather have that extra point to potentially kill some kind of Angel, Tempest Djinn, or an opposing Drake. And 4 Discovery Dispersal, a little bit of Black Splash. We've actually got exactly 1 land to potentially hit our Dispersal against Control. It also feeds our graveyard for our Drakes and helps us filter. Standard 21 land package, again with that splash for black. In the sideboard, we've got a Shivan Fire. This is good against mono blue, other Drake decks. It gives us another 4 damage removal spell. Disdainful Stroke is good against Control. It's good against Golgari. Anything where your opponent's going to be playing Lyras, Planeswalkers, we want to bring in Disdainful Stroke. Entrancing Melody, again, this is good in mono blue tempo. Against mono blue tempo, we can sometimes steal Curious Obsessioned creature, a Tempest Djinn. It's good against sort of mid-range mirrors. Negates for Control. Raptor Hatchlings for creature decks. So this is a great blocker in mono red. Our opponent plays a turn 1 Rush Wizard guy or a Goblin, and we can block it and get a 3/3. We've got Search for Azcanta for Control, as well as sort of grindier mid-range games. It's okay in the mirror. Beacon Bolt for killing big stuff like Lyras. Fiery Cannonade for aggro for mono blue tempo, and as well as token strategies, although those are sort of falling off in popularity. We've got a 1-of Rahl. This is pretty good against Esper Control to fairy decks. It gives us a little bit of extra card advantage, as well as it can also be good in the mirror to kill creatures, but we mostly want to bring this in against Control, and 3 Niv-Mizzet for Control. We have a pretty big Control package. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards basically to bring in against Control. We're going to be taking out 4 Shock, 4 Lava Coil. Most likely possibly take out an Entrancing Melody as well for something else. It depends on what we're playing up against. That's a quick rundown of the deck. Let's get into some ranked games. Yeah, this hand's fine. Try to get information to inform our scry. Looks like we were playing probably Esper, but we'll see. We'll keep a Drake. Play a Pteramander with protection. Always use protection. I think we just hold up our counter spells. Let's protect this one threat and try and draw into land. Slowly ramp out to be able to play other spells with countermagic up. Yeah, it looks like we're playing Esper. So we want as much interactivity as possible. He did not have a kill spell this turn, which leads me to believe that he won't this turn. However, I'm still just going to surveil and try and get this other land. All right. Now next turn I can play an Enigma Drake with backup. Let's Spell Pierce. It's the weaker countermeasure. Because, you know, if he played that right now, he would have been able to pay for it. So we want to use that up while we have the opportunity to do so. We have to start watching out for Kaya, the board clear. Okay. Probably taking our second Drake. Our other Drake, rather. Trying to keep us off of cards instead. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can actually use this while keeping up dive down. So I think that that's strong. Fairy. Well, if he minuses, dive down does still protect it. If he pluses, I can just kill it. So not certain that that's optimal. This does work because hexproof means you can't target it. Alright, we'll kill your Teferi. Play another Drake. And hold up counter. Not a counter, but oof. Yeah, maybe I should have held up my Drake for just that scenario. Let's go to game 2. I don't feel like staring at a Teferi for 50 turns. What did I just bring in? All right, let's swap out for our control package. And let's take another shot. I really need to hold up Spell Pierce to prevent them from thought erasuring this Niv-Mizzet. Other than that, this hand is absolutely fine. No, they're not doing anything on turn 1, so I should have just played this tapped. They could have duress. Man. Yeah, I have to play this because otherwise they can just take it. And I'd rather keep them in the dark. I'll be able to opt to find another Spell Pierce potentially. Yeah, we don't want the extra land. I want to play this untapped and take the damage because damage doesn't really matter in a control matchup. And I want them to play around the Spell Pierce, however, they don't care. My opponent says, you don't have anything. Let me take your Niv-Mizzet. Oh, that's very interesting. That signals to me that they probably have another Thought Erasure because they are trying to keep me restricted in my ability to filter cards. Let's just play out the Drake. At worst, it cycles. Now they'll probably take a Niv-Mizzet with their second Thought Erasure. Or not. All right. I probably let the first Thought Erasure go through. No? All right. I just play Niv-Mizzet then. Yep. I still get a card. Now we play Drake and hold up negate. I want to hold the opt as long as possible. Sure. We'll play this first for the extra point of damage. It does change the clock. We'll keep that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think we want to play this. Oh. It automatically played the wrong version. Can I undo that? No? It's kind of lame. And they counter a spell that does nothing. That's very interesting. I guess they just cycle it for the life gain. That was just a very confusing exchange. All right. Let's see. 4, 8. That's Niv-Mizzet plus negate. We should have played that first. But actually, let's just play a Drake. This threatens lethal as well, while saving our better threat. I could have played both, but then that just walks into Kaya's Wrath plus counterspell. What we learned from that last game was we want to be more conservative with our threats and not walk into Kaya's Wrath. Yep. That's exactly right. We played around it well. Now we just play another one. Or do we play 2 Drakes? Let's play another one. All right, they're going to bounce it. No, they're going to draw. Do they have 2 Teferis? No. They don't have enough lands. That's strange to me. I think that you should have bounced this. Play exactly half of our threats. We're threatening lethal here. Our opponent doesn't know our last 2 cards. Adapt here. I think he has a kill spell. So I think that we don't have lethal anyway, and we want to hedge between damage and killing the Teferi. I want to make him decide. So he opts to save the Teferi. Very tricky. 1, 2. He's used 2 Kaya's Wraths. I'm not sure how many these decks play. I'm going to check that real quick. All right, they typically play 4. I just checked that on MTG Goldfish real quick. I'm going to play out the second Enigma Drake because it forces him to have 2 answers. There's 1. He can always bounce this. All right, now I think I play out the Pteramander as well, because he's going to bounce it. One, 2, 3, 4. I have 15 threats right now. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. All right. I think I need to kill the Teferi this turn. Let's opt first. Keep a negate. Our opponent's down to 1 card. They need 2 things to kill my Pteramander. I have my Drake coming up as an additional threat. 1 land. Looks like we're getting there. That's fine. I really want to save the negate for something that's going to kill my Pteramander. If this is a Teferi, I negate it. If it kills my Pteramander, I negate it. It's probably a land. Could also be a counter spell. Gotta try to counter it. All right, we got there. Our opponent ran out of cards and got there. Game 3. Let's see, how do I want to change? Yeah, I don't really want any of these cards. Potentially, Maximize Velocity was good in that particular scenario, but is it better than a Shock, which can ping off a Teferi? Probably not, so I think we'll just leave our deck as is. On the draw, we will have an extra card, which is important because this isn't really a tempo matchup. It's more of a resource control matchup. We're going to try to play the opt because we want our turn 2 land for search. No Thought Erasure. All right, now we're just going to look for a second land for Pteramander. All right, they either passed until end of turn or have no 1 to 2 mana instance. We do have the dive down. I think we're going to dive down plus search here. I assume this gets absorbed. Yeah, I was thinking about it. Negate. Sure. That's 1 negate down. I like my current hand a lot. I thought Erasure doesn't hurt us too badly. We have Drake plus dive down, so I think that's what we're going to play out. They can counter it, it's fine. Yep. We're probably going to wait for 7 lands for Niv-Mizzet to be able to play it plus dive down. But we'll see. If they force me to use it on the... Not even sure I would use it on the Pteramander. We'd probably want to save it for a Drake. Would need to think about it. 1, 2, 3 instance. Only 4 cards in hand. Let's play this. Try and we want our lands. Let's do it like this. I want that disdainful stroke at some point. Let's play it like this. Again, lets us hold up, dive down. I'm sure they have another... No? Okay, so it gets to be played out. They might have a Kaya's Wrath. I'm not sure if they want to use it on this board. However, yep. Now I can play Drake plus Disdainful Stroke and or dive down. Go ahead and attack first thing. Let's chart a course. We got plenty of lands. I think it's... I don't really want to... Excuse me. I don't really want to play out this Pteramander. I want to hold up answers. Okay. I want to hold this other Disdainful Strokes. I'm actually just going to use that here. This can resolve. It can't target anything. It doesn't have 4 mana up, so it's not worth holding up the Disdainful Stroke. A negate is a great draw here. Here we can play out the Pteramander. We have 8 instants or sorceries. This is just 1 blue to adapt. I don't want you to get cards. And that's enough. Great series. Very interesting games. All right. Been playing nothing but Esper today. What deck beats Esper? Mono blue. Taking this. Might as well just get this out for free. I guess we don't need the shock, and we don't know exactly what kind of Esper they're playing yet. All right. They are not playing hardline control Esper. Playing mid-range Esper. I hate that. I want it to die. Opt before combat to just get our Drake bigger. He should have attacked with this last turn. Oh no, I had the Drake, didn't I? Bounce my Drake. Yeah, I guess that's better. How to kill this? I think we do it this way. It uses the most damage, right? We could have done 1 and shocked it to Fairy, but we might as well shock their face for 2, and then be more efficient with our damage. On our Drake, yep. Our opponent's running low on cards as well. Now he should attack. Are there any creatures in graveyards? I don't think so. Get in. Okay, on the Crackling Drake now. Sure. I think we just want to play Crackling Drakes every turn. One, two, three, four, 5. We're pretty close to getting the free adapt here. We really like Lava Coils against their deputies here. Wow. Man, they're just taking all my stuff. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I don't care about that much damage. I really don't want him to Thief of Sanity again, so I'm going to hold this back to chump block. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe I do just let him have it. That's fine. It's so much smaller than this one. Our Pteromander's about to be bigger than it. It's really bad for him to attack with anything. I guess the Hostage Taker would be fine, but I can just block it because he doesn't want to attack with his deputies. Alright, we definitely want to play this. We want to dig into as many lava coils as possible. We want to kill this. Get back our mountain of drakes. Okay. Those both die. End of turn, I can pump this if he doesn't have something worth spell piercing. Yeah, you can take one. Using up the mana doesn't really matter. Alright, he gets my drakes again. I mean, even if he kills it, it's really not the worst thing. He's running real low on cards. This is just lethal. No mana. This is why you play the one of maximize velocity. Right here. It wins you game one. All right. Mid-range Esper. What do we want against mid-range Esper? I like Yeah, I like Entrancing Melody. I like Shivan Fire. I like both our Raptor hatchlings. Beacon Bolt. I don't like Shock. A lot of 3 health minions. Spell Pierce, not great. I'd rather have negates. Maybe we keep one. Dive Down is good because it does actually work to counter those detention deputies. And maybe we don't want Entrancing Melody, and instead we want a Spell Pierce and a Search. I don't think we really care about counters that much. They're not. It didn't seem as if they were playing very many. We'll see how they sideboard. If they're bringing in a ton of negates, we might want negates of our own, but we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive with our sideboard plans since we're already up the game. Yeah, this is fine. We're going to get our Spell Pierce. Play our turn 2 Raptor hatchling. Just play this and hope to block it. He's not going to block, because then I get a 3/3, which is bigger than a 1/1. So it's a free point of damage. The hatchling just makes it very awkward to kind of attack or block. It's like a miscloaked herald, in that you don't really want to block it. It's just a very good card in this deck. I think we just hold up, dive down. Keep poking with our Raptor hatchling. If he minuses, we save it. Attack with both here. We really want to kill Teferi when they're only at 3 cards. Drake is the perfect draw. Feeling good. They don't know what's in our hands, so we could have a something. However, we do not, as it turns out. All right. That was a quick one. All right. Well, I've played about 10 matches, most of them not in this video, and 9 out of the 10 were against Esper of some sort. So the 2 games that I included here were against Esper Midrange and Esper Control. Now, the Esper Control game was just a really good game of how to play against Control using this deck, how to turn the deck from a mid-rangey build into a control build after sideboarding, and just really showed off how to sort of manage your resources well. The game against the Esper mid-range showed how to play in a slightly different scenario. Really the only sort of archetype that this video was missing would be against aggro, and against aggro you just want to play all of your removal, your board clear, and try to keep their creatures off the board, play Drakes. They're probably going to have trouble dealing with them because the aggro decks are only really playing Lightning Strike, 3 damage spells as their removal, so it's going to be hard for them to deal with your 4 health creatures, especially when you have a lot of them. You basically want to play the tempo game where you're trying to kill their creatures with your removal, as well as play out your own threats that they have trouble dealing with. Against mono blue tempo, you sort of want to play a little bit aggressively. You want to play out your cards. They run very few creature counters, so until they get the Wizard's Retorts online, your Drakes are pretty safe to come down, and they do not run removal. And those creatures block basically all of their creatures except Miscloak Herald, which is coming out of most decks. So you want to play your creatures out as soon as possible and then shift into a sort of counter-based tempo kind of control-y plan. So out of the sideboard, you want to take some of your counter spells, your other Entrancing Melody. I think that the 2 damage board clear is quite good against a lot of 1/1s. It does not hit the Siren Storm Tamer or the Djinn. However, it is good against the rest of them. If you kill 2 Pterodactyl Terramanders and a Curious Obsessioned Miscloak Herald, that's insane value. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope it was informative. If you liked it, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more MTGA content coming out soon. I hope everybody has a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, and